Hey boys and girls, this is Mr. Bell. Listen, today we're going to be talking about area of rectangles and triangles. What I want you to know by the end of the video is how to find the area of a rectangle and a triangle using the respective formulas. The formula for a rectangle is area equals base times height, and it's written like this: area equals base times height. The area for the triangle is very close. Area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. And I'm going to explain the difference between these two in just a second. All right? So this is how it works. Let's say we have this rectangle right here. All right? We're given its dimensions. We're given the length of the height, and we're given the length of the base. So according to this formula here, we have to multiply those two values together to find the area, how much area that rectangle covers. All right, so in our example, and I purposely went with fractions because I know you guys love fractions, so I'm going to show you how to solve using fractions. All right, so our example has a base of 2 1/3, and it has a height of 1 5/8. Okay, so according to the formula, we just multiply these two numbers together. Now, you have to go back to what we learned with multiplying fractions. First thing we have to do for both of these fractions is turn them into improper fractions. So let's do that. To turn it into an improper fraction, I multiply the 3 times the 2, and I add the 1. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. That number stays over the 3. And then I do the same thing to 1 5/8. I multiply the 1 times the 8, and I add the 5. 1 times 8 is 8, plus 5 is 13, and it stays over the 8. Okay, I check to see if I can simplify. I can't simplify this or this, and I can't simplify a numerator with one fraction with the denominator out of the other for either one of these. So I have to go ahead and just multiply. 7 times 13, let's see, 84, 91, over 3 times 8, which is 24. So the area of this rectangle is 91/24, but I can't leave it like that. I have to simplify that answer. So I need to go ahead and divide 91 by 24. I'll just do that right here. 91 divided by 24. All right, 24 will go in the 91 probably 3 times at the most. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I try to subtract. 2 from 11 is 9, and 7 from 8 is 1. 19 is less than 24, so this is good. My answer is 3 19/24, and that is the area of this rectangle. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to find the area of a triangle. All right, so I'm going to erase this. Okay, so I'm going to keep using this rectangle because this is how we get our formula for area of a triangle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide this rectangle into 2 pieces. I'm going to draw a diagonal from one corner to the other, and what that's going to give me is 2 triangles. All right? So what you'll notice about one of these triangles is that the length of the base and the length of the height are the same as what we had for this rectangle to begin with. So if I were to just multiply those two numbers together, I would get this answer here. All right, and what that does is nothing for me. So the reason why we have this half right here is because, well, I just divided that rectangle in half. So to find the area of just one of these triangles, I can multiply the base of the rectangle times the height of the rectangle, and then divide that by 2, or in this case, we're multiplying by a half. Remember when we learned about reciprocals, we could say we can either divide by a number or multiply by its reciprocal. That's essentially what we're doing here. All right, so I can divide those two numbers by a half, and then that'll give me the area of just one of the triangles. All right, so let's try that. I have the dimensions again as, well, let's just go ahead and write 1/2, and I'm going to multiply that times 2 1/3, and I'm going to multiply that times 1 5/8. Okay, now these two are the dimensions of the rectangle, and I'm going to cut that in half because I only want the area of one of the triangles. So you can do this any way you want to. Multiplication is what we call commutative, which means you could change the order. You can multiply them any which way you want to, and you'll always get the same answer. So I'm just going to kind of move straight from the left to the right. I can only multiply 2 at a time. All right, so I'm going to multiply 1/2 times 2 1/3. So I got to go back to what we did before. I got to turn this into an improper fraction, and I do that by multiplying the denominator times the whole number and adding the numerator. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and I keep it over 3. So now I do 1/2 times 7/3. 1 times 7 is 7, 2 times 3 is 6, and that's my answer. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this number straight down, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it into a number I want to multiply. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply that and add that. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 5 is 13, so 13 over 8. Now I'm ready just to multiply. I'm only going to multiply these numbers here. I'm done with this part. This is all finished. All right, I'm done. I don't have to worry about that. So check to see if I can simplify. I can't. Should have picked a better problem. All right, 7 times 13, I think we had that at 91 over, and if you remember correctly, that was the same number we had before. And then 6 times 8 is 48. All right, so this number has changed. It's going from 24 to 48. This number's doubling, which means when I simplify it, it's actually going to get smaller. All right, so I'm going to divide 91 by 48. 48 will only go in the 91 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. Got to borrow. That's going to be an 8. That's an 11. 8 from 11 is 3. 4 from 8 is 4. So I got 1 and 43 48ths. Okay, and that is the area of our triangle, which, if you notice, it looks like it's about half. Okay, because this was 3, this is down to 1 now, so that's how that works. All right.